Hello and welcome to 24 Panels Per Second. This is the comic book TV and movie show from the Comic Crush. I'm your host, Paul. With me is Liz, as always. Hi, Liz.
Hello.
Good to see you again. Glad to have you back this week. Um,
Glad to be here.
we are going to be talking about Daredevil, Born Again, Season 2, episode 1 only, because that's all that's been on at the time of recording. We're also going to try and find some time for the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer, which I know Liz is really excited to talk about, and maybe a couple of other bits too, depending on how much time you've got and Liz's boredom levels. So but it's going to be
We're
really
wrapping
rough.
it up now, huh?
Yeah. It's going to be really rough and ready. Sorry, I've lost my little headphones, so I've only got these big things, and when I put them on, I literally can't hear anything except Liz, and I can only tell you what a horrible situation that is, folks, to only have Liz's voice in my head rather than my own internal narration. It's just terrifying.
I mean, that's
But
mutual feeling, but
yeah, so I've got to have one ear on, one ear off, which I may change over the course of the show. So sorry about that. We're having a few technical difficulties this evening, so there'll be no images. Both Liz and I have had computer problems, so we're just doing it very rough and ready and off the cuff. So Daredevil, Born Again, Season 2, Episode 1. Quick synopsis for you. After the climactic finale of Season 1, Daredevil and his small group of allies are preparing for a fight against Wilson Fisk for the fate of New York. With the help of recurring characters like Karen Page, Frank Castle, and Jessica Jones, spoiler, fans can sit back and watch the action unfold, which is what Liz and I did. That's a very loose synopsis. That doesn't really pertain to this episode, but the series in general. We are getting Jessica Jones back. That the cat's out of the bag.
But
do you feel they should have kept that? So before we get into the show, sort of on the whole, do you feel that's something they should have tried to keep secret? Or
I think that it might have, it might have been like a really exciting surprise for people. But there might be people who, might not have watched it, not knowing, that she would be in it. There might be a subset of fans who, are only watching it because they know Jessica Jones is going to be in it. And...
Yeah, this is true. Although I don't know what the sort of, I assume there's a ton of crossover between Netflix Daredevil fans and Netflix Jessica
I don't
Jones
know what
fans,
their reason for telling everyone was. I mean, it might simply be that, they kind of thought everyone's going to figure it out anyway. But I think that they're kind of, reassuring people, I feel like, at this point, that like the Defenders universe isn't gone.
Yeah.
And because the idea of Daredevil Born Again, before the current showrunner took it over, was so different and such a big departure from the Daredevil that we knew on Netflix. I feel like the positive response that they got to Season 1 is definitely like, making them kind of double down on saying, oh no, this is the universe you already know and love. Hey, look, it's Jessica Jones. And
Yeah, okay. I mean, I would love to catch up with like Luke Cage, especially.
I think a lot of people would. I think everybody's like hoping to see those characters all be reintroduced. I mean, you've already seen the Punisher return in Season 1, and everybody, obviously loved that. Myself especially. But I think it's just like, yeah, okay, and I feel like Jessica's the next logical character to reintroduce.
And I would again like to see Luke Cage back. I'd like to see is it Finn Jones back as
Iron Fist. This that's like being there's a lot of rumors that you're going to see him soon.
I hope so. I really like those two Iron Fist shows. And they were left in such a bizarre place, as with Luke Cage. I mean, that cliffhanger not even cliffhanger really, but the position they had Luke Cage in season 2, and especially, well, we'll get into it. And
right, but given the context of like what's going on with Wilson Fisk,
and what we know has happened in the comics, because as
right.
I understand in the comics currently, Luke Cage is Mayor of New York, I think. Right. I'm a little kind of behind on the Marvel universe, but we start this with Fisk now kind of fully ensconced as Mayor of New York, and we've got the kind of BB propaganda out there, kind of telling us what a wonderful thing that is. No parallels with the real world, I'm sure. And we actually start the show with a shipment of weapons being brought into New York, and Daredevil getting on board the ship and beating up the bad guys and discovering that there is this huge shipment of weapons, and the boat is sunk, it was quite a spectacular action piece for the opening of a kind of of a TV show, really, even a Marvel one. And I was quite sort of pleased and surprised that they went there with that. How did you find the kind of opening of the show?
I thought it was like very very in keeping with what we've come to expect with Daredevil and action scenes. But it was to me noticeably he was like a little different to the Daredevil that we've seen previously, in that he was really not holding back.
No.
It was especially violent. He's wearing a black costume. You can see that this is like a darker Daredevil. Even though in his out of costume interactions, he almost seems to have like maybe lightened up a little from last season. But in the suit, he was breaking bones. He was, it was very like visceral. The black costume, was an interesting choice. It's kind of maybe is that like, are we meant to be harkening back to season 1 Daredevil, where he was just wearing the black, or is it like, oh no, he's darker now? And he's also got the DD. That's a total aside, but like in previous, I think this is the first time we've got the DD on his chest.
Also, I think it's pulling a lot from Charles Soule's run, because you'll notice that a few weeks ago Marvel republished an entire sort of spate of Charles Soule's Daredevil, but in the kind of
like the little digest
format, which I was so annoyed about, because I really kind of wanted those. I really wanted to read them, but it's just like I don't really want to read them at that size. I'm not a huge fan of the digest format. For as much as I think it under DC Compact, it's kind of reinvigorated a lot of comics and a lot of comics buying, and I think that's fantastic. As a personal taste thing, I'm kind of just like, no, I don't want the art to get smaller. I want it to get bigger.
I understand.
Bigger
I have the same like dichotomy of feelings about the whole thing, because I love that I can sell people like a DC Compact copy of any great DC book for $10. And it absolutely has like been just incredibly popular. Like every single time a new one comes out, I can order higher and higher and higher and feel confident they're going to sell.
It's reinvigorated a big chunk of the comics market. And I think DC have done absolutely right thing there. Again, it's just a personal.
I get that. I like seeing a nice, full size page.
In fact, I'm gradually working my way up. I've recently started getting some of the DC work in progress editions of those first issues. So All-Star Superman #1 and Absolute Batman #1, which are beautiful, which are kind of the black and white pencils, inks and letters only. just absolutely stunning. So I like it kind of pretty big. But Matt sinks the boat. Well, he doesn't sink the boat. The captain and the first mate of the ship are ordered to sink the boat if they encounter any problems. And Fisk quickly kind of wants this declared as a terrorist incident by Daredevil, and is kind of trying to put the squeeze on Daredevil and Karen, who's now also wanted by introducing this anti-vigilante legislation, which again we've seen in the comics, although that was kind of after post Charles Soule's run, right? That was I think that was a Zdarsky's thing, yeah. Which was an interesting kind of thing. I kind of feel like it's not the first time they've done that, though. I feel like it's been done before, but I'm unsure. And it'll also be interesting to see how that affects characters like Spider-Man, which we'll be discussing a bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was sort of a version of that, in Civil War, really.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's kind of slimmed down Sokovia Accord. And we also see after this, Matt and Karen together in their new hiding spot, which is the apartment above Josie's bar, which is now derelict since Foggy lost his life there. Still no Foggy back. I'm
getting really impatient.
I feel like he is coming back.
And I really want him to come back. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I mean, there's a lot of ways that they could. There's a lot of ways that they have done so in the comics. I mean, Foggy's died I don't know how many times in the comics, but quite a few. I was really upset with them killing him in episode 1 of the first season. Oh, same. We didn't talk about the first season, so.
No, we didn't get to talk about it. No, but the general expectation is that he's not dead amongst fans.
I truly hope that's true.
Yeah,
I feel like the show is really missing something that is like a at the heart of it. Without Foggy being there, I think that I really enjoy having Karen back. In the fray, and we'll talk more about it, but seeing her rekindle her romance with Matt is also really nice to see.
Also, the thing with Foggy is one of the reasons I believe he's not dead is I have not seen that actor give a single interview, and apparently no one in the geek press is interested in asking him questions. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Bullshit. Well, Marvel, I'm sure would string him up by his toes, I
think they've got that guy under lock and key. Yeah. He's in Kevin Feige's. He's sleeping on the floor of Kevin Feige's office every night. He has to get up early, get showered before Kevin comes in, and then just busy himself. And also, without being funny, he's a good actor. I've seen him in a few things. I can't remember his name now.
Eldon Henson.
Eldon Henson. Yeah, sorry. But have you seen a single movie or show with that guy in since he took the bullet? No, not one freaking show.
Well, so they have actually confirmed that he's gonna be in this season, but they have not said how that's gonna work out. It could be flashbacks. It could be,
So when did they confirm that? Do you not think you could have told me that before we started?
How did you not know? No. I mean, I knew this at the end of last season. As soon as they announced there was going to be a season 2, I think almost right away they confirmed that he'd be in it. But they didn't say, they also confirmed he'd be in the first season. And I think they did anyway. Right. And obviously we saw how that turned out. He was in it for one episode, dead afterwards.
Do you think they're going to bring him on and then kill him again?
Well, I don't know. He could be a ghost. We don't know.
Oh no, please don't do that. Oh god.
No, I think they have to bring it back. I mean, I think
it could be flashbacks. It could be flashbacks.
It could be flashbacks. I hope it's not flashbacks. I hope he's been in witness protection or something like that. It'll all make perfect sense in comics logic, and I think everyone just wants him back.
I think we do know we'll be getting. Obviously, we know we're getting Jessica Jones, but also we're getting a new White Tiger, which I believe is the daughter of the original character.
Niece.
Yeah, no, sorry, niece. Yeah, and we've also got the swordsman kind of, which is a big part of this episode, and I suspect it's going to be a big part of the season going forward. The swordsman is undergoing kind of psychological evaluation from Matt's ex-girlfriend now, Heather, who seems to have turned into a I don't know what you'd call it really, a Fiskite, sort of Fisk.
Agent of Fisk. Yeah, she's turned to the dark side.
Yeah. Now, I mean, obviously, this is partially brought on by Matt's kind of removed nature when they were together, as we saw in the kind of season flashback at the beginning, and also the fact that when Matt was seriously injured, saving Wilson Fisk, which I still think is the stupidest thing he's done. Like, let the fucking guy take the bullet. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I still don't feel like that's been satisfactorily explained.
Yeah.
Are we meant to, sort of assume that he saved him to, so that he'd be held accountable, or that he's just would throw himself in front of a bullet to save anyone? I mean, it seems like, I guess it like, if you're looking at last season's arc and where he starts off by, very nearly murdering Bullseye, that, it's like a full circle moment when he almost gives his life to save, the person he probably hates more than, than anyone.
But a bad decision, I thought. And of course, at the hospital, he was kind of out of it, and he said Karen's name in front of his new girlfriend. Always a faux pas, really.
Yeah, it's women don't love that.
No, they don't, understandably. But now he's with Karen. Now I began to think, looking at their relationship, we get two scenes really of them together, as I recall correctly. One at the beginning of the show, one at the sort of halfway mark. And they're both kind of, what's interesting about them is I am kind of getting the sense that really, and this could come back to bite them as a couple later on, is that their relationship can only function when everything's going to shit. Because they never have a relationship when things are going fine, do they?
No.
Even from the Netflix seasons, they weren't together when everything was hunky dory.
I mean, but I mean, bear in mind, Matt is Daredevil. He's always miserable. Things are always terrible for him. So this could work out well.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of problems down the line there. I wonder if this will be the season where they kill Karen. I wonder if we get a touch of the Kevin Smith.
I don't know. I think that if anything, they've already kind of reversed that and done it to Foggy. And they already played out the sort of Karen as the like drug addict storyline. So yeah. I just don't know that they would need to kill Karen at this point. I mean, they've already killed off Elektra, unless they for some reason wanted to reintroduce Elektra.
Which is the character logically would be the one who could come back from the dead because of her association with the Hand.
Right.
And of course, when we get into Spider-Man, we'll be talking about the Hand as well. And I'd like to see Ella Young come back. I thought she was great as Electra.
I loved her. I thought that that she was a perfect Electra, and I'd love to see her come back.
I really would. But yeah, I don't know. I feel their relationships, heading for the shitter, really. Because
Matt and Karen. I mean,
I don't think you can sustain it.
Right. I mean, like, even though Matt, I think Matt is probably the most tortured man in comics. So things can't go well for him for any extended period of time anyway.
And also, I think there's something deep down in Matt. He's not quite as bad as Bruce Wayne in this respect, but he loves a wrong un.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Karen's really. I mean, despite the like the whole drug addict arc, they seem to have totally moved away from that.
Yeah.
And so really, it would be like Electra, who's the the one
definitely.
that he's
and and now Heather, because she does like I this thing. I actually got really angry during those moments with Heather because she is purposefully pushing the swordsman into like this kind of very corrupt kind of agenda that Fisk has set out, where they want to have him declared like a psychopath so they can sort of bury him in prison for years, even though he's done very little.
Well, so
at least in the context of the show,
I think what we're meant to infer from those scenes is that Heather, her experience, having shot and killed Muse, has basically given her this like hatred of superheroes, or not superheroes, but vigilantes. And in a way, by punishing the swordsman, she's punishing Muse. She's punishing the people who she sees as the people who've hurt her, because she keeps hallucinating Muse in the background of those interactions. And, you start to get these like shots where the camera tilts and you see her go into this anxiety spiral.
Wasn't that a great, didn't you think that was a great, I thought that was a lovely also callback to the ship sinking at the beginning. And I think that's a really nice visual motif. I'm not sure if that was in their mind. I think they're just trying to show.
Maybe I wouldn't necessarily disregard that as being intentional. I thought there were some really interesting shots, and really great like transitions and things, and that seemed purposeful. I thought it was really well directed.
Yeah. So it's Benson and Moorhead back for this. So from. They did Moon Knight. They did portions of Moon Knight, portions of Loki. They actually talked about going out to dinner with Hiddleston and Charlie Cox, which they said was their Hiddleston's way of handing them off to Daredevil. And what was also funny was, so I watched the official Daredevil podcast episode that goes along with this first episode, just to get kind of more skinny on it. And apparently there were a few Charlie Cox said he spent an inordinate amount of time learning the kata stuff for the dummy sequence where he's beating up the dummy, and Karen's doing the martial arts, and then he comes in later on and he's doing martial arts, and he said that he feels that the amount of time he spent learning it was disproportionate to the amount of time it actually appears on screen.
Right, probably about 30 seconds, maybe.
And he said that he also remembers quite early in the schedule turning up to do a stunt where he had to fall, I can't remember if it was backwards or face first, off a giant scaffold, just straight down, and do like a flip or something. And he said he came in and did the stunt, and he said now that he's watched their episodes, they've cut it out.
Oh my God.
He was like what the hell? Like what's happening? And I'll give you another funny bit. We were talking about the costume earlier, and he said that costume doesn't really breathe that much. And he said during the sequence in the East River where he has to crawl out of the river at the beginning, he said it made him a bit sick for a few days, for about 5 days. He goes, as he put it to Vince D'Onofrio, I have some tummy problems. And he said there was one moment where he had to appear on the streets in daylight in the costume, and it was the first time they'd showcased the new costume with the double D and everything. And there were a lot of fans around because they're out in public. They couldn't really hide it. And he said to I think it was the assistant director, he was like, I need 5 minutes. Okay, I need 5 minutes. And he had to run to his costumer and go, you need to get this off me really quick. Because basically he was about to have an accident.
Oh my gosh.
So it's not all kind of
yeah, it's not all glamour.
You know? No,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
the unglamorous world of tight costume. But what's interesting about the thing as a whole, and I noticed this in the sort of BB sequences as well, is that there was a weird, like privately, you and I talked about there being a kind of really weird feel to the episodes of season 1. Like they were very loose and a lot of times seemed quite directionless, not in a bad way, but they just seemed to kind of.
And I think some of that had to do with the way that all panned out, like, you know, how a lot of the show, was kind of changed after, kind of like the test audiences didn't like, the direction they were taking the show in. And I feel like it made for, a slightly disjointed first season. A good first season overall, but slightly disjointed first season. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure you must have felt that all that was gone now.
Yes.
Like all that was.
It felt much more like the Daredevil I knew from the Netflix series. It's like it really was kind of just like stepping back into that.
For me, I felt it was even tighter than than any of the episodes there, because I was rewatching some of those last year in the build up to watch the first season of Born Again, and like those shows take an inordinate amount of time, and it's just like, look, this could be tighter, this could be, some of these plot points could be merged, and
I don't have any complaints about like all the first 3 seasons of Daredevil. Particularly season 1, I thought was just like, I thought that was especially on a first watch, I really didn't think there was much to cut from it. I think you're watching it through the goggles of having already seen it. I
knew I'd be the problem.
Usually the case.
I knew if I spoke to you about this, I'd be the problem somewhere along the line. I couldn't possibly have an opinion about the value of it as a piece of art, could I?
Anyway.
Yes, go on, please.
Anyway, yeah, I definitely felt a difference, right at the outset of this season, that it was like, okay, like we're on the train now and it's moving forward, like we're not sort of meandering as we did a bit in season 1. And
we also get more of BB's kind of insurgency, if you like, into Fisk's kind of inner circle. She's close friends with his deputy mayor, who, like, interestingly, it's so fascinating that she finds that character redeemable, and she thinks, oh yeah, I'm going to turn this guy around. It's like, I don't think you are. I think he's going to get even worse. I think he's going to become even more of a shit than he is now.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think that, like, he is he's a character that could kind of go either way, but I think, like, in your, I wouldn't disagree that, he's just loving this high life that he's living as a, um, worker bee of Fisk.
Well, he's now the deputy mayor, which is kind of as high up as he can go, really, without killing.
Well, yeah, but as like, I think she says it, that basically, or it might be her, it might have been somebody else who says it in the episode, but he's there, and if somebody's going to take the fall, it's not going to be Fisk.
Yeah, of course.
And he's, as much as he's an acolyte of Fisk, I think, you're sort of, you see that, like, there is something kind of innocent about him. He doesn't know how in over his head he is. He's in awe of Fisk, but he doesn't really understand who Fisk really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy, surrounded by people who've just completely gone along with this kind of fascist takeover of New York. It's insane that no one has just gone, no, fuck this, I'm out of here. Like,
well, no, you see, like, that's not actually true. I mean, BB is creating these propaganda videos, and then in all likelihood, she's creating propaganda videos of her own propaganda videos.
Now, I'm interested in that because we get one snippet of that. So do you
puppet?
Yeah. Do you think that's
is
BB? Do you think that's BB?
Yeah.
Because she did say to the police commissioner, I don't publish everything under my own name. So it could be that. I mean, I was trying to get a handle on the voice when I watched it a second time. It's like, whose voice is that? Because I know she's obviously doing an impression of Vince D'Onofrio as Fisk, or whoever it is under that mask. But you're kind of, that's your theory. It's definitely BB under the mask.
I don't know that it's her under the mask, but I think that she created the video. Yeah, that's my theory. That's my theory that, basically the propaganda videos, are her own videos.
Right. And yeah, I suppose it would make perfect sense because if she's attacking her own videos, then it can't possibly be her doing it, right? I mean,
right.
So when Fisk does finally go calling, we also see kind of the life that Matt's had to leave behind. So he's had to leave his legal firm, he's just disappeared, and Cherry is kind of running interference for him. I can't remember. Just Cherry knows he's Daredevil, right?
Yeah.
Right. And he's got Cherry looking for the captain and the first mate of this Northern Star boat that was sunk at the beginning of the first episode. But that also puts Cherry in the firing line of Fisk's anti-vigilante task force, who really are proper shits. I mean, we do have to talk about the end of season 1 and probably the most horrific thing I've ever seen on television.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was utterly kind of disgusted by that. Like,
well,
probably
I was the desired reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, it was horrific, absolutely horrific. But I also thought, like, okay, like, because back when Daredevil season 1 came out, my worry going into it was like, they're not going to push hard enough. They're not going to make it dark enough. They're not going to make it gritty enough. And then within like an episode or two, like, you have that scene with Fisk, like smashing the guy's head in the door. And I was like, okay, all right, we are going there.
Yeah.
Good,
yeah,
good,
definitely.
great to know. And this was like, this was very much the same thing, because it was like, okay, is the Disney brand gonna like soften this up to the point where it's not Daredevil anymore? And it's like, all family friendly and,
yeah, I mean,
kumbaya. And like, it was like, nope, we're actually going to take it a step further and have him explode a guy's head like a watermelon.
It generally was. I found it so off-putting and offensive to see, and I am getting more queasy in my old age. But
I mean, I thought it was horrible to watch, but I thought it was like absolutely like, okay, all right, the gloves are all off. This is what we're doing. And I don't think we're going to see anything that horrific again.
I hope not. I mean, it is just one of those things though that builds up your hatred for Fisk. So I remember,
and it definitely reminds you who he really is and how dangerous and scary he really is, because he is like charismatic villain that people like to empathize with, and something like that was like, oh no, like, he's really bad, like, remember how bad he is, because and
I remember watching, like, I had a lot of sort of sympathy for him in the first season, where he genuinely seemed like he was changing. But of course, once you get into that thing where he's keeping his wife's ex-lover locked up in a freaking cage, you're like, no. Actually, you're like, no, get the fuck away from me. And I remember watching. Do you remember Breaking Bad? Have you ever seen Breaking?
Oh yeah, of course.
So I remember having a lot of sympathy for Walter White as a character up to, I can't remember what season it was, but there's a season where he arranges for a whole slew of people to be murdered in different prisons all at the exact same time. And once they did that, I was like, yeah, I'm out. You're a piece of shit.
I think for me, it was actually, funnily enough, when he, if you haven't watched Breaking Bad,
sorry, spoilers for
years,
this 15-year-old
for the next, 10 to 30 seconds. It was when he murders Kristen Ritter's character.
Yeah, God, that was awful.
Yeah, which was horrible. It's like the, that for me was like the real, like, whoa, okay, he is, because it's on such this small scale compared to other things that he's done, but it was, it was awful.
Although we should point out, Fisk is a character that started out bad and was always bad and was always going to be bad. But I just kind of had this glimmer of hope, because I almost think that sometimes it's more interesting to go to the other extreme. Like, I've been rewatching Smallville lately. Sorry that we keep talking about other shows, guys. Bear with us. This is just the way we kind of go off on tangents. We'll bring it back to Daredevil in a minute. Like, I've been rewatching Smallville lately. I'm into like season 8 now. I'm not sure how much longer I'll keep going, because I'm there's places where I'm kind of I'm not enjoying this as much. But I got so much pleasure this time around, because it wasn't a show I was really in love with the first time around. But now, being a bit older and being a bit more relaxed about the way we tell comics and comics related stories, I got so much pleasure out of the Clark and Lex relationship.
Yeah, which I think that is really, really well done in that show. Yeah. And I haven't watched the whole, I've only watched, a couple of seasons of Smallville, but I thought that was really the kind of pearl of the whole show, was like the Clark and Lex dynamic.
But I actually would have liked to have seen that continue. And I would like to have that just been the whole show for the 10 years.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was fun and that was interesting. And currently in the season, Lex Luthor isn't in it at the moment. And you really feel something missing from the show now that he's gone.
So where are you going with this? Is this like, does this go like sort of circle back?
I'm sorry, I did
and not Murdoch.
So I almost wonder. Sorry, I went off on safari and didn't bring back any game. So the point for me is that I think it would have almost been more interesting to have Fisk stay as a quote unquote good guy, and have Vanessa Fisk be the Kingpin. and you know, maybe have Daredevil and Fisk team up and have to bring down Vanessa in some way. I'm always interested in the road not taken. The same with Endgame. I would have been perfectly happy if they had not brought back all the characters they brought back at the end of Endgame, and if in fact we had explored what the world was like after, and how superheroes then fit into that world.
Well, I mean, that could be done.
I understand that. Yeah. I understand you. That's not necessarily what you're there for, and it wasn't really what I was there for. But what I'm saying is there is this kind of wistful part of me that kind of goes, oh yeah, actually it would have been nice to kind of explore the road not taken. But yeah, I like, he's always a shit, and he always will be a shit. And I do actually think the only answer for Wilson Fisk is probably at the end of a bullet. Really, it's not prison. It's not going to be some big, you know, fist pumping moment where they get him in court. It's going to be that he ends up dead in the river. Sometimes sometimes the most kind of abrupt bit of justice is the only one that makes sense. But I don't see any kind of like. I don't want to see him get that kind of justice. I want to see him get the other kind of justice, because, you know, it's just that's just the way I feel about it.
Right.
I think he's gone too far now to be, you know, he went too far in the Netflix seasons, and he's definitely gone too far now in these shows.
But you know, I mean, but this is what we know about, you know, Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, the character. You know, he is, you know, is and always has been a really bad guy, but he's a really bad guy that you know is so interesting and captivating that sometimes you forget.
Absolutely, and you can't knock his performance of that character.
Right.
And it's weird because, again, in watching that, like the podcast stuff, earlier today, his D'Onofrio's cadence and physicality is completely different to Wilson Fisk's cadence and physicality.
Did you watch that podcast? I didn't.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you watch and he's got like a beard, and he's a bit lighter, and he's dressed very casually, and he's got hair, and you know, it's just him and Charlie Cox talking about the first episode of the show. To be fair, folks, to the things I can't remember, and you know, Liz always does far better in terms of remembering what's happened in a show or a film than I do. They couldn't remember either. They going like, yeah, like I had to watch like a big recap of season 1, and then
yeah, well, that's, you know, I mean, for them, I mean, like they probably, you know, had filmed it so long ago they couldn't really remember. But you know, there are a few other characters that were new addition. Well, there's at least one kind of pretty major new addition to the cast, and that was Matthew Lillard's character, Mr. Charles.
Again, a complete shit.
Right. And a character who, like, I haven't been able to work out yet whether he is, like, you know, an existing character from the comics. You know, like, so far there's nothing overtly saying that he is or that he isn't.
He's so within the context of the show, he says that he's with the CIA initially, and he comes in and sort of instantly solves a problem using his power, his kind of far-reaching political connections, but also he as Fisk puts it later, he's grandstanding. He's showing off a bit, and also there's that sort of uncomfortable dinner scene later on with Fisk and Vanessa and Mr. Charles, where he instantly kind of offends Fisk and Vanessa, and by just being himself, and being kind of. He's not even. He doesn't say anything really offensive. It's just his manner and his abrasiveness, right? I mean, that's kind of the issue there.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry.
I think, yeah. Sorry, my mom is like yelling at me. She's like in the other room and doesn't really seem to realize that I'm in the middle of doing a podcast.
Do you need to go and tend to that, or
no? I'm just going to ignore it.
You could just text her and say, I'm just recording a podcast. It's okay.
I know. It's
sorry about
very
this, guys.
professional. I know, yeah. Anyway,
we are proof positive that life goes on with regardless of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Your mum's
and
coming
there
in.
she is. Yeah. Hello, podcast, Mom. Say hi to the.
Hi, Catherine.
Mom, I'm recording a podcast. Bye. I'll talk to you later.
I'm going to be upset.
Anyway.
Reminds me of the Batman podcast we recorded where we'd already started recording and there were like 4 of us on it, so I couldn't stop recording to start again, and I had to run down and open the door for a package.
Yeah, well, that's what I get for not renting a studio.
Oh, well, what can we do? Yeah, so Mr. Charles is going to be kind of, we assume, quite the force. But he also indicates really more sinisterly that the US government is backing Fisk's decisions here. And I wonder how that's kind of going to play into things like damage control. I wonder if we're going to see the chap from Damage Control again in this season. That would be kind of interesting, right?
Yeah. I mean, so we we do get a direct connection to Thunderbolts. When Mr. Charles is on the phone, he says,
I forgot about this.
He realized that he's talking to Contessa Allegra de Valentina. So we know that part of the machinations going on have to do with her. And we know that the Fisk's the port that Fisk is running the weapons and everything through was something that also like she was kind of taking advantage of.
Yeah, I mean the interesting thing there is I wonder if we'll see. I can't remember if he was announced. Has he been announced for Doomsday yet? Charlie Cox or any of those guys?
Who? Charlie Cox? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But to be honest, I'm kind of like I'm keeping myself fairly unspoiled. Beyond those little teasers that they released a while back, that showed different characters who are definitely confirmed to appear.
It's just the big kind of silly please spend 15 hours watching chairs being put on a stage.
Right, yeah. I don't think so.
It was so long ago. But funnily enough, again, I'm sorry to keep harking back to this podcast, the official podcast thing that they've got running, which is worth watching after the show. I will say, I'm certainly going to be catching up with more episodes of that as they drop them. They do a Q&A session, and one of the questions is, what have you not gotten to do as Daredevil that you would love to do? And Charlie Cox's response is, be an Avenger.
Oh,
so
wow.
I wonder if we're going to get I wonder if we're going to get
maybe. I mean, that would be pretty cool.
I would love that.
There could be. I mean,
so yeah, I mean, I really do worry about the kind of Mr. Charles stuff, because it really does, as you say, it's expanding. We're going beyond now just New York. We're moving out to other areas. It's moving out to Washington. It's going to move out. He's bringing guns in from God knows where. because that was an international ship, that wasn't an American ship, and it's making the whole thing much bigger, which again is interesting for this show, because the show has always felt relatively small, and now to have it take on this sort of size and scope is pretty right. We also see some interesting stuff for Karen, who's kind of out there in a very fetching wig, picking up secret files. But I and she's kind of handling BB, right? She's kind of become the point of contact for BB, and she's warning her, be careful, because I don't want you to end up basically the same way as your uncle.
Right.
I quite like that, the idea of Karen running around and doing that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like in the way that Ben sort of looked out for her.
Yeah.
She's trying to look out for BB.
And also, you're reminded is that they are now fighting a war. Like, there is no kind of middle ground on that. They're fighting a war. They are kind of a resistance, which brings up a lot of interesting connotations. And you really do see the sinister arm of the law kind of reaching out to grab Cherry at the end of the episode, which was a great. I mean, were you expecting it to go as far as it did at the end of this episode?
No, that was again like another really great sort of action scene, where I was genuinely shocked when they pulled the mask off him. Which I mean, it's like he really sort of lets his guard down and lets himself get put in that position, and obviously he's distracted, he's trying to save Cherry, but I was like, oh my gosh, like, is this where we're going with this? And then the last thing I expected to happen was that he gets rescued by a very unlikely source.
Yes. Now, I don't get what the motivation is there for Bullseye to do that. It's very I wonder if it's much like the comics. I always kind of got a sense that Bullseye really enjoyed having Daredevil as an enemy,
as like an adversary.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could be as simple as that, or it could be that he actually has his own motivations for wanting revenge against the Fisks, because it was Vanessa who kind of put him up to murdering Foggy.
Yeah.
And maybe he's like willing to work with Daredevil if it means he can take down Fisk. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to speculate.
Yeah. It's so. I mean, obviously, there's like 7 episodes to go. 7 weeks. I'm really frustrated by the way they put this series out.
Right. I know. Well, next week we'll get 2, right?
Do we?
I think so.
Week? Okay,
I think
that's interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
And then we're going to try and reconvene for episode 4, just after episode 4, right? So we're gonna
do like because we're not gonna be able to keep up with a weekly schedule, but we will. We do want to cover it, and we do want to touch base, probably at the midpoint, and then again at the end.
Yeah.
And talk about the whole thing.
And see how much of our speculations came true. In my case, probably none. But there you go. You got anything else you want to talk about with this?
No, I think that I think like we already kind of said, I thought it was a really strong start. I really felt like we're really back in the thick of it. It really feels like kind of Daredevil at its best. I just hope it I hope it continues to maintain that. And I can't wait to see things that we kind of know are coming and things that may or may not be coming. We know we're going to see Jessica. I can't wait for that. We know we know we're definitely going to see more Bullseye. I'm really, excited to see, what direction that goes in. And we know we're going to see Foggy to some extent or other. And, that's the thing that, I have my very strong hopes, that we're going to get Foggy just being reintroduced into the cast as, in the form that he was previously, but we don't know yet. So we'll, we'll find out.
See how they play it. See, I don't know how they've brought him back in previous incarnations in the comics, but I'm very excited to see him back. All in all, great episode, great start to the season. I'm really keen to see the big sort of banding together of this sort of resistance. There's been a couple of photos, and it's quite a big group from the looks of it. So I'm quite kind of excited. Although you don't see too many heroes, you see the White Tiger, but not too many others, as I recall. But I'm quite keen to see what form that takes. I love those moments. I think they're always really rousing. It's like the end of Endgame where you get all the big group coming back together again, and that I like that stuff. Yeah. I'm a sentimental old fool, so I kind of really enjoy those big sort of fist bump moments. They've already kind of given the go ahead for season 3. Cox is kind of happily talking about it, so we know that's coming. So it'd be interesting to see where we are at the end of this. I wonder if can I go really far ahead with speculation on this?
Go on.
I think they're going to put him in prison.
Okay.
I think they'll do that arc.
Really?
In some form or another. Yeah. I think it will. This season will end up with him getting caught. Whether Fisk is mayor or not, I don't know. But I think we will get some of the Bendis / who else did that? It wasn't Diggle, was it? That put him in prison.
Diggle, I think it might have been during Diggle wrote like Shadowland, which I think
not well received.
No, but I think does it end with? I mean, it I can't remember whether
wasn't the problem. Wasn't the problem that was it Rucker who did the middle arc?
Brubaker,
yeah. So I think the issue was that Brubaker was just like, I'm going to stick him in prison. I don't care what you do next.
I mean,
his attitude was, I'm and everyone was kind of, there were other creators looking at him like, what? So I'm stuck in prison. It's fine. You work it out. I'm off.
Yeah, no, I did enjoy Brubaker's run, but it does kind of, it ends abruptly, and I don't know how well Diggle wrapped it up.
I haven't read it. I think I've got your copies here still of
probably
Diggle's run, and Brubaker's stuff. So I'll be going through those, Liz. Cheers for those. One day we'll see each other again. This is the thing, we haven't seen each other in like
2 or 3 years,
5 years.
No, it's not that long.
Yes, I think
2022, I would say.
Yeah. What year is it now? 2026.
Okay, fine, 4. Maybe 2023. It could have been 2023.
It was 2022. So eventually I'll give you back your comics.
I mean, it's I'm not in a hurry. I have
they're safe.
Right.
And in that time, in the 6 years that I've had them, I still haven't read them. So
missing out.
So we've really got to talk about, just quickly, Spider-Man trailer, brand new day. That is coming in July. We are really excited about that. You watched there goes the headphones. You watched the trailer again just before you did the podcast list. I mean, lots of stuff in this. Just a ton of things to kind of talk and speculate about.
Right. It is. I feel like it's it's a couple of different storylines in the Straczynski era, sort of post Straczynski era that
so it's taking the Dan Slott brand new day, but not in
sort
quite
of,
the
yeah.
same
So
way.
basically, where Straczynski's ends with, like, the one more day, and everyone forgets that he was Spider-Man. MJ forgets their marriage, etc. Which like, obviously, was followed by Brand New Day, in the comics. But also, it looks like there's a little bit of the other,
yes,
mixed in, which is Straczynski's, like,
yeah.
fairly early in his run, if I remember right.
I think it's after what would be in the first omnibus, so after the first sort of 15 or 20 issues. It's somewhere in there. I've got it in pieces, sort of lying around this cave of comics I'm in. I'll certainly be reading it before we get to the podcast about the show. That's kind of on the schedule for the next few weeks. But what's more interesting is this, what seems to be the hand.
Yeah,
popping
which is very interesting. It's like, what, like, how does that fit in? How does that fit in with Spider-Man?
But also we might be getting a version of not the Sinister Six, but we're certainly going to get what looks like the superior foes of Spider-Man, because Boomerang is although he's not in the trailer, the YouTube thumbnail, the official YouTube thumbnail, if you look down in the corner, is Boomerang throwing boomerangs at Spider-Man. It is Boomerang, right? Is it Boomerang? What's the name of the character? He dresses in blue.
Yeah, it is.
And throws boomerangs. Boomerang.
Yeah,
it's
Boomerang. Yeah.
And Marvel are also republishing Superior Foes of Spider-Man in the next few months, which is the first time they've done that in years. It's coming out as a complete collection, and we advise you to pick that up because we've both read.
It is.
I've read
good.
some of
it's
it.
Very fun and funny.
Yeah, and it is one of the better runs out there. Very enjoyable. And we've definitely got Scorpion back from the first Spidey movie, right? So he makes an appearance at the end of Homecoming.
Yeah,
as I remember. Like we've seen a clip with him in, so we know he's going to be there. But of course, the big speculation is who is Sadie Sink,
right? And sort of the big fan theory is that she's Jean Grey.
Yeah. And we see that clip in the trailer of her kind of arms outstretched, but you can't really tell it's her. But they've done shots of her wearing the same coat. It looks like it's going to be her. The theory is that she'll be a mutant on the run from Damage Control. My possible implausible theory was that they'll essentially this whole change that Spider-Man is going through, that Peter Parker's going through, is a mutation, and
it's possible. I hope they don't go in that direction. I have to say, I hope they don't.
I don't mind if they do, because I always think the movies have to be sufficiently different from the source material.
I just don't
to make it its own thing.
X-Men. I just,
not necessarily the X-Men, but just a mutant. I think I think they're trying to make mutants a separate kind of thing, to sort of backdoor the X-Men in the same way that they made Miss Marvel a mutant.
Right. I mean, but to me, Ms. Marvel made sense,
Yeah.
Whereas Spider-Man is Spider-Man.
Yeah, and also I think it's their way of combining the very unfortunate experiment they did with the Inhumans, where they decided that because they didn't own the rights to the X-Men films years ago, they would make the Inhumans a thing, and that didn't really come off. The whole Terrigen Mist things, just fans didn't seem to like it. It's weird with comics fans, because I will kind of happily go along as long as it's kind of well written, whereas I think that a lot of comics fans are very much, oh well, it doesn't matter how well written it is, I just don't like this idea, flip the table, and they don't necessarily. Whereas I'm kind of think now, especially again as I get older, comics should be this wild, crazy medium where anything can happen, right? So it doesn't really matter. Let's just bring it all on and just do that and throw everything at it. But yeah, I wonder if they're going to make him a mutant. I can't imagine what the fan reaction would be. I don't imagine it would be pleasant.
No. I wouldn't like it. I already don't even like thinking about it. So I'll represent that leg of the fan base. Thank you, but no, thank you.
Oh God. I do find fandoms utterly bizarre. I know I am part of, I am part of all this. I'm not trying to separate myself from out of it, but sometimes I have to step outside of it and look and go, what the fuck is this about? Just lunacy.
Hey, I mean, I'm okay with them, taking some liberties, but kill Aunt May instead of Uncle Ben, all right, fine. But
as a character, he was already dead in that
right, I know, but
sort of universe. And I think it really added a level of poignancy to that movie.
Right, but
anyway.
my point being, there's a shade and then there's a shade too far. Mutant Spider-Man is where I draw the line.
Yeah. Right. Well, also we should say Wonder Man is coming back for a second season, which we
didn't talk about the Punisher. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Hold on.
Well, we're talking about the Brand New Day trailer.
All right. Oh yeah, sorry. Punisher is in Brand New Day. Liz, did you? I'm sure you would have seen it on the Comic Crush, Liz. So I know how much you're transfixed to my website. But John Bernthal took to his Instagram account to announce the title and release date and show off the first poster for the Punisher one-shot Marvel special, which we're told will be an hour long. It is called One Last Kill, if I remember correctly, or something like that. I literally wrote a story on this and put it up the other day, and I can't bloody remember what it's called.
Are you Googling it right now?
No, I'm looking on my own website. On your own website. I'm on my own website. There we go. So it is Punisher One Last Kill. I was right about that. It'll be out on May 12th.
See, I saw the preview image of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know they had released a title for it.
They've very much gone for the Ethan Hunt Mission Impossible style poster, which I guess we're going to be seeing a lot more of in posters over the next year or two. But I'm looking forward to that certainly, and we'll be.
I gotta say, he was so good in the last series of Daredevil.
Even though he didn't he wasn't really allowed to kind of rock and roll and even at the end. I'm obviously I want to find out what happened to him at the end of Daredevil Born Again season 1, because he was captured by Fisk's goons,
and he escaped,
as I recall. Did he escape?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yes.
I thought they still had him.
No.
Oh God.
He
really
remember.
should.
He took one of the guards into coming close to the cell, and then basically murders him and breaks out, and that's where we leave it.
Okay. Don't remember because it's obviously been like a year since I've watched it.
Right. Well, anyways,
Punisher
he's going to be in Spider-Man. We know that. We don't know exactly, you know, how that's going to work out, but I mean, just seeing him in the trailer was like, you know, the best thing about the trailer for me. You know, you get some like good little comedy interactions between him and Peter, and somehow, you know, it feels like he's going to fit into that, which is amazing because, you know, when you think about the context that we just saw him in Daredevil, you know, and we just, you know, see how horrifically violent that was, you know, and then to have him pop up like, you know, and, you know, trade jokes with Peter Parker. It's like, it's very impressive that, you know, he's kind of able to maintain both tones.
As kind of we discussed off air, I think it's interesting that the episode, the one shot, it's called One Last Kill, and we see him in Spider-Man being kind of, you know, no bad language, he's stopped from using extreme violence. I wonder if they're going to try and move to a kind of
a more cuddly Punisher. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I guess, but I'm certainly excited for this one-off, and we should probably, all things going well, we should be able to do that when that rolls around on the 12th of May, which means we've got quite a busy summer, Liz, because we've got more Daredevil to come, more Spider-Man, and this. Yeah, unfortunately, we are going to be seeing quite a lot of each other. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm quite
and as you were like trying to segue into inappropriately early, there is going to be another season of Wonder Man.
Yes, there is going to be another season of Wonder Man. That's been announced. We don't know when it's coming, but it has been officially announced, which I'm really thrilled about.
I thought the first one was great. I really liked it.
And if they could kind of keep it to this sort of low superhero interaction type thing, I'm quite pleased with that. Obviously, that'll be a post Doomsday show, and of course, Liz, we're building up to that at Christmas. Christmas is now looking insane because they've scheduled Dune Part 3 and Doomsday for the same day.
Oh, wow.
And both films look to be at least 3 hours. And it's just like, well, that's made that impossible.
Jeez.
I don't know that I'll be able to cram in 6 hours of movie going in.
Well, see, I unfortunately am like fairly indifferent to Dune, so.
But
I still haven't watched the first two.
They're magnificent movies. And funny enough, they've just launched HBO in the UK now as its own separate thing, and I believe they'll both be on there because they're both WB titles. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens there. No doubt I'll be podcasting at least one of those. Definitely Doomsday with Dr. Doom here. We'll be doing that. But that's it for us, I think. Any other business apart from lamenting the fact that Buffy is not going to be now gracing our screens? I'm gutted about that. I really am.
See, well, I know you are, and you know that Buffy's my favorite show of all time, and I'm actually not sad about it. I think we sort of discussed this between ourselves already.
Dodged a bullet, you think?
I
don't know. I really like the young actor who was playing the new Slayer. She's been great in the Star Wars show she did, and she also did the Lowdown with Ethan Hawke, which was a great show, and she was really good in that. So I think she would have been good. The general scuttlebutt is they had a test screening and it wasn't a good show, and they weren't happy with Sarah Michelle Gellar's kind of minimal appearance in it.
Which I don't have a problem with that. I actually think that, you know, that to me wouldn't be such an issue because, you know, she's kind of in the stinger from what the description of the episode was. Like, you know, there's almost it's like almost post credits sort of thing where, you know, she only appears at the very end of the episode, which I think if that's the direction they're going with is to like introduce a whole new cast and then remind you at the end, like, oh yeah, this is Buffy and here she is. That doesn't bother me so much. But I just couldn't get as excited about it as I wish I could have, for various reasons. But who knows? Who knows what the future holds?
Yeah, I would like I wouldn't have minded. I mean, it would have been fine for her to just pop up for a few minutes if she was going to pop up again throughout the season, because that.
Well, I imagine that she would have like been the focus of the next episode.
But yeah, it's a shame that now we'll not see it. And also the executive who apparently made the decision not to push ahead with it is now the guy that's running Fox TV, which is the company that owns Buffy. So it looks like we just there won't be any chance of it getting sold off to someone else. So, you know, there'll be no Netflix revival, none of that.
Right. Well,
so,
I don't know. Some things I think are better left in the past, and I feel like Buffy is, you know, is one of those things.
Yeah, I don't know. I still love the show and still enjoy dipping. I
love it more than I probably love any other, you know, TV property. But I think unless unless all the ingredients were there, I feel like you'd be missing something. And
and again, you know.
And we're going off on another tangent. You know.
Rest in peace for Nicholas Brendan, who sadly passed away last week, I believe. It was a very sad loss for his family and friends. But also a reminder, I guess, of the fact that we kind of do love all this kind of geeky stuff. It's still comics. It's not that much of a tangent, Liz. They're all Buffy comics. I read them. You read them. You know, it's all part of under the Disney umbrella. Which of course is also now the Marvel umbrella. But yeah, we'll catch up with you guys in a couple of weeks, I guess, in about 2 weeks.
I think after episode 4 is what we talked about.
So we're going to watch episodes 2, 3, and 4, and then come back to you. Please do join us again then, and then we'll be back for episode 8. And then we'll
hopefully
be rushing.
Without my mom.
Oh, bless. Don't be too hard now, Liz. Don't be too hard. Right. So give my love to your mum. I hope she's well. I hope she'll enjoy. I know she likes to watch these podcasts when they're out,
like to watch them.
She
so,
will get to enjoy
she'll get to enjoy her like embarrassing cameo.
But there you go. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. Sorry, I just went off on like so many tangents tonight. Liz, as always, I really appreciate you coming on and bringing your astounding voluminous knowledge to the show.
My pleasure.
It's always great to see you, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks, which is appropriate. It's about the amount of time that I need to get over having spoken to you this evening. I've got time to recover and recuperate, and then straight back into hell.
Yeah, you'll be crying into your pillow every one of those weeks. I know.
Tears of joy, Liz. Tears of joy. Right. Thanks for being with us tonight, folks. At the Comic Crush on all the necessary socials, Blue Sky, all that. Just remember to add the tags on Blue Sky, or on Facebook, or just thecomiccrush.com. There's a great web shop for people in the UK there with loads of Marvel and Daredevil comics and Spider-Man comics, and even more going on in the next few weeks if I can get through the huge box of comics that's just here out of shop. Do join us again. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.